Well, they worked up enough nerve to sneak a peek into the window. Then they were struck with shock. They said there he sit, he's in there eating raw meat. Anything that only looked like a goblet. It looked like it was filled with blood.
Today in Creepy History, we'll be talking about the Virginia vampire of Big Stone Gap.
Hey Wolfpack, long time no see, right? Well, today I have just something really short for you guys. I actually filmed a whole episode just a minute ago, but I'm not going to be able to release it until tomorrow due to time. I'm sorry about that, but at least you will get a full episode tomorrow. But I didn't want to leave you to go without for too long. I've been kind of on vacation and it's been my birthday and we've just been celebrating that. So I wanted to come in and give you a cool little short story about Appalachia and a supposed vampire that really did live there, like a real vampire. Again, this is just going to be a short and sweet episode today. Full episode is coming tomorrow, so please don't be mad at me for not being here. I am sorry. I've just been doing my thing, being on vacation, and celebrating a little bit. So this one right here, my mom sent me this one. She was like, this is really cool, because I've been into vampires lately. I just recently watched the new Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. Well, it's not new. It is new. It's a little new. And I just finished the second season of that. So I've been like loving Anne Rice's vampires. And today, I just wanted to share this with you because it actually came from Appalachia. And please, want to remind you guys to keep Western North Carolina in the mountain region in your thoughts and prayers. We're going to continue on with this story. It's called Appalachia, Legend of the Virginia Vampire of Big Stone Gap. So let's go ahead and give it a watch. Make sure to go like and subscribe to their channel as well.
During the 1890s, these old Appalachian Mountains gained attention worldwide when folks learned it's packed full of coal and iron ore. Almost overnight, little old small places become...
Hold on now. Let me fix this volume. There we go. Turn it all the way up.
Boomtowns. Boomtown is where a little small area had little old towns thrown together almost overnight, with railroads in and out and all kind of stuff. Everybody hoping to make a dollar. Back in southwest West Virginia, there's a little small place called Big Stone Gap. Again, almost overnight it seemed to turn into a boomtown, with folks from all over the place showing up. But one was awful peculiar. It was an old feller known as Rupp. Now, they said old Rupp was a mighty peculiar feller, not only cause of, the way he talked, but also the way he dressed. Said he was a big old feller with long straight black hair and a big old scraggly beard with piercing blue eyes. Said he dressed like a fancy gentleman, including a big old tall hat and a cape, even though it was fairly old and half worn out. Said when he spoke, he had a mighty deep voice that was spoken in a deep Slavic accent, so his English weren't the best in the world. Said he was pretty much a hermit. Said he hardly ever made an appearance. Said he stayed all by himself in a little old cabin that was just kind of thrown together in the woods just outside of town. He stayed there by a little old creek called Bloody Branch. Said it was called that because of the heavy iron in the water. Said it turned it a reddish color. Well, one day an old farmer found two of his livestock slaughtered in the field. which at the time weren't completely unheard of, cause I mean, wild animals and even folks that was out there about half starved to death, you know, just looking for a meal. That thing weren't completely unheard of, so. But the thing that puzzled everybody was the fact that the only thing that was left was the head and hindquarters. But what was even more strange is the fact that they weren't nary a drop of blood that could be found on the ground. Well, a little more as time went by, animals kept being found slaughtered in the same manner, all close to Bloody Branch. And then one morning, the body of a feller was found in a thicket on Mountain Laurel, just a few yards from the banks of Bloody Branch. An old feller that went by the name of Bad Dan. Said the poor old feller had suffered the same fate as the cattle. Well, one night, two local boys snuck up there to old Rupp's cabin on a dare. Well, they worked up enough nerve to sneak a peek into the window. Then they were struck with shock. They said, there he sit, sitting there eating raw meat. And the thing that only looked like a goblet. It looked like it was filled with blood. So naturally they took out a running for dear life. Run all the way home, telling folks what they'd seen. Well, the next day, they told the sheriff. The sheriff said they weren't everything he could do, cause there weren't no law again eating raw meat. Then the rumors began to spread throughout Big Stone Gap. Well, just a few short weeks later, another feller, a salesman, was discovered. Again in the same manner as Bad Dan and the cattle. Only this time, it was found right up next to old Rupp's cabin. Well, locals had enough. And back in them old days, they had this thing what they call mountain justice. Well, folks got together and went up there, and when old Rupp didn't answer the door, they kicked it in, but he weren't nowhere to be found. Said then they's all in shock. Said when they was in a roughly fashioned cupboard, sitting there, and said on top of that was a pile of severed limbs of both animals and people. But I said they set that old cabin on fire and watched it burn to the ground. The next morning, the sheriff deputized a whole mess of fellers to set out in search of old Rupp. But after looking endlessly, day and night for several days, they never seen hide nor hair of him. Just like he vanished into thin air.
Y'all, that was a crazy, scary, but awesome story. And very true, apparently. That is crazy. Do you think that he was a vampire? Do you think he was just a serial ender? I don't know, guys. That is super crazy. But thank you guys again for listening. And make sure you go over to Jared King's TV. I'll put the link in the description box below so you can go give this a like and a share. I would appreciate it since I am sharing his stuff. And man, I really enjoy these creepy short stories. I hope that you do. And today in Creepy History. So yeah, that was really, really good. And thank you so much, Jared, for sharing that story with everyone. That's pretty dang cool about vampires. But I don't know, guys. I'm gonna always leave it up to you to decide.